Pittsburgh Steelers legend Troy Polamalu is back and helping mentor Jalen Ramsey as he transitions into his first season in the NFL with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and potentially moving all around this defense and playing the safety position for the very first time. But first, before I get more into it, however, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers traded for Jalen Ramsey a little while ago, and he will be playing all around this defense, from outside cornerback, inside cornerback, to even potentially playing safety. And what better player, legend, to talk to learn how to play the safety position from and get some tips from than Troy Polamalu, the greatest safety of all time and a Pittsburgh Steelers legend. You're coming over to Pittsburgh, so might as well talk to the GOAT himself. So, not even 1 week after becoming a Pittsburgh Steeler, Jalen Ramsey is now getting to pick the brain of Troy Polamalu, one of the best players of all time. And this is all thanks to Ryan Clark, because Ryan Clark set up a FaceTime call between Troy Polamalu and Jalen Ramsey, just so those two could talk to one another, and Jalen Ramsey can get some tips from Troy Polamalu on how to transition into a safety role type of player, and also just so he could welcome him into the Pittsburgh Steelers culture and what to expect as a defensive back. So, Ryan Clark, he shared a screenshot of the FaceTime call between Troy Polamalu and Jalen Ramsey on social media, and he said this. Here's his quote. "Connecting the greats, one Steelers legend and the next. Troy Polamalu times Jalen Ramsey, #family." So, Ryan Clark obviously works for ESPN, so he has that connection still to the NFL players, but also he obviously has that connection still to Troy Polamalu, a player that he played with for a long time, and basically his duo at the safety position when he was here, someone who relied heavily on each other. So Ramsey, he was part of the Steelers' mega move, where they traded Minkah Fitzpatrick, a safety, to the Miami Dolphins in exchange for tight end Jonnu Smith and obviously himself. And now Jalen Ramsey, he's going to have a big part in this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And many people are expecting him not only to play cornerback, but also transition into the safety position and play a huge role there as well and try to learn some things there. And it's obviously not clear what Troy Polamalu and Jalen Ramsey discussed, but it may have been more than kind of an introductory and a welcome call than anything else, because there's still a chance that a talented player like Jalen Ramsey can speak with a Hall of Famer like Troy Polamalu and kind of try to pick his brain and learn some things from the safety position, because obviously Troy Polamalu played safety and is the best safety of all time, especially strong safety. So Troy Polamalu could give him any tips that he needs to play the safety position, especially from a guy who's trying to learn it from the first time and kind of moving to that role this season. So I'll get more into why Jalen Ramsey is the perfect fit for a safety based off his skill sets, but first let me just say what Jalen Ramsey commented under the screenshot post of the FaceTime call, because he said this. "Man, I appreciate that big bro Ryan Clark. Much love. I can't wait to be a part of something special." End quote. So obviously kudos to Ryan Clark for facilitating this meeting. And when you look at Troy Polamalu and Ryan Clark, they're one of the NFL's best safety duos of their era. And you have to understand the importance of Steelers lore and Steelers legends of yesteryear. And Clark said this many times, where you have to go check in with the other safeties, the other players of the Steelers past, especially legends. And Troy Polamalu also acknowledged this in his Hall of Fame speech, basically saying this. Here's the quote. "The only approval any Steeler should seek is to earn the approval from previous legends who have done the black and gold. If you really earn their respect, they'll say you could have played with us." End quote. So, obviously, Jalen Ramsey, he knows this. Ryan Clark, he knows this. So that's why this meeting is set up, to basically check in with one of the greats and basically get the approval of them and learn from them. And when you do that, that's when you become a true Pittsburgh Steeler. And since retiring, Troy Polamalu has largely stayed out of the spotlight. However, he and his wife, they organized a charity event in Pittsburgh last season in 2024, which dubbed the Resilience Bowl. It brought out several former teammates, including quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, and raised money for the local community. And now it seems as though Troy Polamalu is more involved with the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of talking about the team and getting reconnected with the players of the current era. And this meeting between Jalen Ramsey and himself basically conclude that. Basically prove that that is now happening. Because Jalen Ramsey, when looking at this, he will be a big key role for the Pittsburgh Steelers secondary, especially add to help combat the Cincinnati Bengals wide receivers and the AFC's strong passing attack in terms of the Baltimore Ravens, who also get it done through the air, but also get it done on the ground. Jalen Ramsey is going to bring the physicality back to the Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback room. He loves being aggressive. He plays with a fire, and he seems as though he is a Pittsburgh Steeler, just from how he's played in his past teams. So, Jalen Ramsey, he's trying to earn the respect of the Pittsburgh Steelers legends, and Troy Polamalu is a great place to start, because many people consider Troy Polamalu as the best Steelers player of all time, especially for his era that he played in. So, the reason why I think Jalen Ramsey can be a true Pittsburgh Steeler and still really good even through the later stages of his career is because he still has anticipation, he still has his instincts, he can still make plays on the football. And we all know the Pittsburgh Steelers love turnovers, love getting turnovers from their defensive backs, and that's what they thrive on. And when they don't do that, that's when they struggle. But Jalen Ramsey has always thrived on that, getting those interceptions and turnovers. And he can still do that at a high level because he's done it in the past. He has done it this past season. He's done it every year of his career, creating turnovers. And he reads the defense, he reads the offense really well and is able to jump passes and get those turnovers. So Jalen Ramsey, he will be the slot cornerback more than likely for the Pittsburgh Steelers this upcoming year for the greater portion of the season. He can still play outside cornerback as well, but he probably will be mainly used as the slot guy, and also someone who could roam the backfield as well. And because of his anticipation, his instincts, he can still play and transition over to the safety position for the very first time. He's talked about in his past saying that how he would be willing to transition to safety in the later portions of his career if it makes him play longer. And with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they may need that. They may need him to lurk around at the safety position because they really only have Deshaun Elliott and Juan Thornhill at that position ever since trading Minkah Fitzpatrick. And obviously trading Minkah Fitzpatrick is losing a great portion of the back end of your defense, someone who doesn't let the ball go over the top. So the Steelers may have to deploy Jalen Ramsey in that role as well. And that's why he may be talking to Troy Polamalu, not just because he's a new Pittsburgh Steelers defense back, but also because maybe he could get some tips on what to do at that safety position, because he's never played it. Jalen Ramsey has never played safety. He may have played it maybe a few snaps here and there, but he's never really played safety at a high usage level. And maybe now with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he knows he's about to play a lot more of that position. Ryan Clark does as well. And maybe this meeting was set up for him to learn how to play safety. Get some tips there so he can be ready to go by the time the season starts. And that's a good thing. That means he's willing to learn. He's willing to get some knowledge from the greats. And when you're able to soak in that knowledge as a veteran in this league, someone who's probably going to make the Hall of Fame, if you're willing to get that knowledge at this point of your career, that's only going to bode well, and that means that you're still willing to learn and you're still willing to be great. And that's a good thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That means they're getting a competitor. We know Jalen Ramsey is a competitor, but this just proves it. He proves that he's willing to do anything in order to make this football team better and make himself better. And this is great for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but that's it in this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Your thoughts on Jalen Ramsey talking to Troy Polamalu and this meeting being set up by Ryan Clark. Do you think they're talking about his transition to safety, other things, and how do you feel about him now as a Pittsburgh Steeler? Do you think this bodes well for this team? And do you like this trade of trading away Minkah Fitzpatrick for Jalen Ramsey? I personally do, because you get Jalen Ramsey. I believe Minkah Fitzpatrick was on a decline. Jalen Ramsey is on a decline, but he's still a better player, I believe, than Minkah, and it just fits the Pittsburgh Steelers team better. And also on top of it, they get Jonnu Smith, a Pro Bowl tight end. So me personally, I'd like it, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about everything talked about in this video. And also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis reports, everything surrounding this team. I will continue covering it, and especially the highlights when training camp rolls along. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel for the sneak preview into Steelers practice here shortly with all coverage of the new and current players. And until the next video, I'll see you guys all later. That's it for me. I'm out. Peace.